Hi, everybody.
Hi
So,
there.
this is the intense version of what we did on YouTube.
Yeah.
We're very excited. So, I want to welcome Dotan and Tavel, and they are from the Galactic Federation of Light. That's their clothing brand, and I absolutely love their clothing. So, I'll have that link below. But we're going to talk about the more intense things that are going on right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go for it, you
Well,
guys.
Okay, well, Honey didn't know who Nick Shirley was, so I just wanted to quickly tell her. Um, Nick Shirley is a right-winged sort of citizen journalist, and essentially he goes around the world and interviews people. He's done it in the slums of Rio. He went to where's that prison that like that country that went from like
El
really
Salvador.
he went to the El Salvador prisons and like interviewed so many people there. Essentially, it's just like a citizen journalist who goes around and like tries to like uncover what's really going on. So recently, I think it was 2, 3 weeks ago, he went to Minnesota and found that it's hugely corrupted and there's a lot of fraud going on there. Particularly in this video around child daycare centers. And what he found was that a lot of people that happen to be from Somalia, like immigrants from Somalia, go to Minnesota and they open these child care, like assisted living or transportation businesses that don't have anyone working in them, don't have any children, and they just get millions and millions of dollars from the government. So he did this 40-minute long video 200 million views in like the in 24 hours or something crazy like that. And the government got involved. Tim Walz ended up stepping down and he anyways, and $185 million that go to these centers got frozen until the government can, investigate these fraud allegations. But essentially, it was a huge, like, a wake-up call. A lot of people were very angry about it. There were many, many responses, but it brought up the sort of topic for us about citizen journalism and how the truth can be discovered and recorded with only an iPhone. And now everyone has the tools to, like, do that.
Right.
And it's just really interesting how, this movement that's coming up and people are very passionate about it ever since he's going to speak at Congress, he's spoken with the president. A lot of waves are happening from this, so I will send you the link, Honey, after this. I think he's just a
I
kid.
think I know who he is now. Yeah, because my husband's been watching him.
Right.
Um, he, so the guy that he was with in
The older,
Minnesota,
yeah.
I get that he is connected to the White Hats.
Okay.
Okay.
So he had all the information, and Nick followed him around, and they picked him. So he was picked to disclose all of that information. And I think it was something like $19 billion of fraud.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was a tremendous amount of fraud. And then you had the false flag happen,
What do you mean?
which, so with the ICE agent who was
Right.
getting ran over, and then he shot the lady.
Right.
And I get that as another sort of George Floyd type event.
Mm.
So not real. Engineered. So
Orchestrated. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of mixed feelings about that, but we can talk about it in a little
Yeah.
bit.
So we'll see how it all plays out, but I think we are gearing up for the National Guard to be deployed in many different areas. And it will be because of this first big stir in Minnesota. So that's the beginning. Just like silver is the beginning or the key to the new financial system coming in.
Right.
And they're showing us as silver climbs and climbs and climbs, it gets worth more money. This Minnesota incident is about allowing everything to progress with all the fraud, the government shifting, um, and it's basically like showing you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's beautiful that citizen journalism is something that now is becoming more and more widespread. But for me, the first time, like we always saw citizen journalism, but I think in Corona times, it came to a point that it was so important. Remember, they were telling us about how the hospitals are full of people and crowded and there's no room and just people will go with iPhones and show us that those hospitals were empty. There was nobody there. There were no people in the corridors. There was nothing happening. And all of a sudden, it started showing us um, the reality versus the fake reality that they're trying to feed us on the mainstream media channels. So that's great. And kind of like what you said, honey, Minnesota was the first thing. There's already talks about what's happening in California.
Mhm.
$74 billion kind of like disintegrated, disappeared. So I'm sure there's a lot of people out there now, like me and you, that are investigating and will
Like
Mhm.
start
Pratt.
seeing truths.
Spencer Pratt did amazing things for California after the wildfires. He went and started recording and staying,
Right.
and now he's running for mayor.
What's his name again?
Spencer Pratt.
Yes,
Mhm.
we'll
Yeah.
support him.
Yeah. So just think about like all the different ways that they're like progressing everything. One of them was Charlie Kirk, so what happened with Charlie Kirk? He probably the person that was playing him is not passed away.
What do
So
you mean?
I don't
What do
think he's passed away either. And I don't think the lady in Minnesota is passed away. So I don't think either one of them actually died during those incidences. The lady in Minnesota, she has the same face as somebody from Colorado who's a crisis actor.
okay.
So we have to remember that a lot of what we're seeing is a play. And they're going to use all of the Hollywood tricks to create what they need to shift the world. So they need chaos to erupt in order to shift the world into not wanting that kind of behavior anymore.
I agree with you that chaos is sort of like the fuel that like keeps people divided. Um, and I think that we've gone really far as a society for like, and I see people on the right and the left doing it that were like cheering for death and like applauding it. And people were so happy about Charlie Kirk's assassination or alleged assassination and Renee Good, her assassination or whatever, the murder. And like for me, that points to like a godless society and like whether or not, you're on this side or that side, we're all puppets being sort of played to like be against each other and like death is like the prize. Like this is like really where we've come to and like that doesn't sit right with me and like my body and like that gives me
Mm.
anxiety to where like why I don't know, that really just makes me like have like visceral reactions and I don't think that any of those people like deserve to die. Like, I don't know. That's just
No, they don't deserve to die, but also we have to see it from a point of view of what are they trying to do here? Is that real? Is it not real? Um, and also knowing you're already awake, so do you need to watch the fall of everything? Do you need to see all the details? Because a lot of people that are seeing that, they're just waking up now. They never woke up in 2020, and they're just waking up now that the world is corrupt. And this is their wake up call, but you're already awake. So when I see this kind of stuff, I think, okay, the house of cards is falling. This is an operation. I'm not hooked into the emotion of it. I've finally been able to disconnect my nervous system from it. And I don't even watch hardly any of it. So that's why I didn't know his name, is because I heard about it because my husband's watching it in the same room, where I'm at. But I was just like hearing, oh, this young kid, look what he did for the world. He went and exposed all that stuff. And that's beautiful because people need to know how powerful they are and how amazing they are. But as far as what happened with that incident with Renee Good, I think it was staged.
Mm.
Um, I don't think that she's gone as a person. Like, I think she still exists. And I think it will probably never come out because I don't think Charlie Kirk's thing will ever come out either completely.
I have a
'Cause
question about chart. Like, how do you guys feel about Erica? Because I'm hearing like a lot of, yeah, I'm hearing a lot of different, just like intuitively. How do you guys feel about her?
you want to,
I I don't watch a lot of her. I never really connected, so I don't have an opinion even.
yeah. So I feel that both of them were replaced a long time ago. And I think that she was involved in trafficking. And I think that he was on the edge of some of that stuff. And
Sorry, go on.
and then they turned him into a great guy, okay, after he was replaced because his face is very different. So a long time ago, he was probably replaced, I don't know, 9, 10 years ago. Okay. And I don't think she was good to begin with. I think been involved with a lot of stuff for a long time. But the thing is, we have to remember, just like Hollywood, politics is also Hollywood.
Yeah.
So exposing these people is the main point of everything that's happening and changing the way the world is, getting rid of government. We don't need government. If we're nice to each other, if we know that we're all like one being, basically, why do we need government? I don't have government anywhere else. Humanity doesn't need government. We don't need hierarchy. We don't need kings. We don't need queens. We don't need presidents. We don't need any of that stuff. So, what's going on is like the universe is pushing us further and further into being aware of who we are so that we can manage ourselves, that we are sovereign, and that we don't need to be told what to do anymore. So Charlie was turned into a good guy, and I feel like he was a little gray in the past, a little
Really?
bit of a gray area. I don't think he was bad, but I also think when he probably figured out what was going on in his marriage, that's when they were replaced. So I don't think either one of them is the original person.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, and with the nervous system, when the nervous system gets involved, then the fight or flight goes in. And that's when we get emotionally charged and stressed. And then we don't really see the whole picture. And it's very, very easy to go into that mode. Like, yeah, when we see stuff that's like, so for me, it's always like it is an actual play, just like a movie. So,
Well, I love what you're saying. So, how do we look at what's happening like geopolitically right now? What would you say about, you know, the Venezuela situation and the Greenland, which is right now the hottest topic?
so I think eventually all of the Americas will be one country. And Greenland, there's a lot of tech there that needs to be exposed. So Greenland will be acquired in like this weird way that they're, showing it to the world. And
So,
then a
so
lot of
did you say
discoveries will
tech?
be made. Go ahead.
Did you say tech? There's a lot of,
Yeah.
okay,
So there's a spaceship there. There
under the
is,
ice,
yeah, there's a lot of weather control stuff going on.
right,
There's a lot of things that they've basically stolen from that area that they're using in other places. It needs to be exposed just like Antarctica. So both of those have to be exposed. And the whole narrative is just to get there and show what's happened. So all of the nonsense that we're watching, that's all like dramatic about Greenland,
right.
it's just so that humanity's like, oh, and then they got there and oh my God, look at what they found. Right? So it's going to change a lot of tech. Yeah.
And do you feel the same was happening with Venezuela?
No, I feel like that's more to do with saving the country, for one thing. That country was destroyed by the drug trade. So, it will be about putting them at equal, to all the other countries. And they have a huge amount of natural resources.
Right.
So the oil, I guess the US was involved with the oil a long time ago.
Before
And
Hugo Chavez, right.
yeah, so they'll just kind of reinstall that system for a while. We won't use oil too much longer. So it won't be that important. But what they do have a lot of is gold and probably silver.
Mm.
So they're going to be a very wealthy country. But what has to happen is all these governments have been switched out already underneath into more positive. And that has to be shown to the world. The world has to know, oh, they're going to switch, you know? So Canada will happen probably in a different way, and Mexico.
Right.
And all of the Americas will probably start to work with Russia, and all of the European countries will pretty much, I think Italy will run the kind of show the way there.
So you're saying that all of America is going to be one country?
Yeah, eventually. And then, I mean, we're not going to care about it much longer because as the ETs come in, as we realize that there's other beings everywhere, as we realize that there is a whole world beyond the ice walls,
Right.
we're not going to care to call like to fight amongst countries or to try and be separate anymore because all of that was just another division thing.
Do you think
But
that we'll see that in our lifetime?
Yes.
yes, I have a question about separateness, which I kind of like go back and forth with. Uh, like for the Americas, let's say all America is going to be one. But then again, I see so much beauty in different cultures,
Mhm.
in different languages, and people that are coming in different beliefs, different belief systems.
Mhm.
If it's all going to be the same, it might be a bit boring. Won't you
Yeah, it
don't
would
you
be
feel
boring.
that? Like
Mhm.
the separateness is as well. This the fact that we're separate and we're different makes it so much interesting and so much diverse and so much beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we're not going to be unique anymore. So what came into me is instead of thinking about it as a separate country, think about it as a separate county. Okay. Like a
Okay.
county. And when you think about like certain areas, you're going to say, oh, well, they have these beautiful aspects. I get to go and learn about that, right? They have this beautiful culture, and most cultures want to bring you in, show you all the yummy food that they have,
Right.
teach you about their culture. And I don't think any of that's going to go away. I think that will be kept alive. But as far as we're separate and we need to fight with you because I'm a Catholic and that person over there is a Protestant or however that works, because I don't do religion. But if that's the case, those things will stop.
So it's going to be like an open border situation.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be any borders eventually. Because why would we care? We're just going to be like, oh, well, I'm on Mars, but I'm from Earth. That's where I grew up. And then they'll say, where? And you'll say, oh, out there in California.
California County.
Yeah. And I'm as it goes on year after year, like 100 years from now, it could be a lot different, but that's going to be a big evolution. Like the joining of earthlings and not feeling like you're separate anymore, you know, and just saying, ooh, you have some really cool things that you guys are doing over here. Can I learn about them?
And then everyone becomes a teacher and nobody becomes like a part of the social hierarchy or status or
Mhm. Exactly.
Yeah, and the way things will be probably managed is by people that volunteer to do that,
Mhm.
and not politicians anymore, and not kings anymore, and not kind of like what you're saying. People would step up, volunteer for a few years, do that out of love for the community, for mankind.
Yep.
but does that
That
mean
that will make things so much different.
Mhm.
does that mean that human nature in itself would evolve to where people don't commit like horrible evil things to like one another? So we're all going to be perfect and like not there won't be like any bad apples amongst us?
Will we be perfect and never get triggered? Probably not. Will we think that we have to go punch that person in the face? No.
No,
So it's going to be more
some people
like,
deserve.
yeah, kids will be taught, listen, you're not getting along. You're fighting over this toy. Let's have a conversation about it. Let's discuss it because telepathy is going to be a thing. Everybody's going to be aware of everything that's going on. So, and that isn't really, the frequency isn't going to support that kind of behavior, hurting each other, because that is polarity. So, as the NPCs go, the polarity will continue to go as well, because
Okay.
we don't need it. It just lives inside of the human being and their traumas. So, like, think about like somebody that was maybe raped. Okay. So they're going to look at men and they're going to see them as scary first. And that's their lens. They could be looking at the most beautiful human being that could make their life absolutely amazing just to be with them, but they see them as scary because of their previous, experience. That's what we're healing right now is the trauma.
Right.
Yeah.
We can see that. There's trauma popping up all the time.
Oh, so intense right now.
So intense.
It's like trigger happy drama going on. So, yeah. And really work with
How
your
do you deal
nervous
with your
system.
traumas?
I, deal with them like everybody else, but I really go in and ask, especially the inner child, because you have the little human consciousness and maybe a bigger soul. So humanity is a soul as well. And they're connected to the human body and the subconscious and everything, but they're young. Okay, so we came in to help them. So if you're a Pleiadian soul in a human body, you still have a little human in there too.
Right.
And that little human got affected by everything that affected the big soul, all those experiences. So right now we're healing this little human. So if you had something traumatic happen to you when you were a child or, in your adulthood, it's this little being that we're healing right now because they control your nervous system. They control your subconscious mind because this is a human body. It's not an Andromedan body or a Pleiadian body. So we're here with the human being in order to help the human being ascend and come out of polarity because they got lost here on Earth and they thought this is the only reality. This is real. They forgot it was a game.
So,
But one second, Tefila, I'm sorry. There's a lot of what we say about coming here for the human experience,
Mhm.
right? So we come for the human experience. And what's the human experience? Going through trauma,
Huh.
going through pain, going through conditioning to be able to learn from all that and come better, right? Evolve.
Yes.
But once we all evolve and the
there's
collective consciousness is going to be so high, how are we gonna we're
human.
gonna be boring.
Sounds like
We need that to keep on growing, right? We need
We
uh
need contrasts. We don't need conflict. So we don't need it to be so severe. And because we were in the 3D, that is all about severity, conflict, stress, hierarchy, um, relationships that you marry the person that you need to go and figure out why your parents didn't like each other. Like a lot of people, their first marriage is really not good, and then they call it like a starter marriage now because it's the person they marry the person that was the hardest, the parent that was the hardest. So we're always learning, but we don't have to learn in such a hard way anymore. And the reason that that is because we're going to have more telepathy, more awareness. And instead of it being like, oh, well, I have to get punched in the face in order to learn that lesson, it will be, okay, I'm forced to sit down and see that other person's perspective and actually understand it.
yeah,
And I will learn that way instead.
okay.
Yeah.
Because it's
So it
about
won't be
understanding.
boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it won't be
It's about
boring. And eventually we won't need to be inside of a human body. Eventually it will just be human.
So we will cease to exist as we know it.
No. So, like, a lot of big souls came into this time and inhabited a human body along with the human in order to show them the way to ascend.
Right.
And they're not going to need us forever, you know? So who knows when that is? That could be 1,000 years from now that humanity's like, okay, we got it. We can just be human and we'll just interact with you as friends. You can be in your own body, okay? Instead of two beings in one body. And that's a hard one for a lot of people. So the two beings, I call the human the inner child. So the human is who's healing right now. So that that consciousness can say, well, I've been trapped here for a long time, but I can see that I'm powerful and amazing and I create my own reality. And I'm ready to go on this adventure of learning who I am. And your big soul, you guys both have a really big soul, is the teacher. So you're this one in there
I love
teaching.
that.
uh,
Yeah.
Well, I hope I get to see it in my lifetime. It sounds like, at first, it sounded like almost like a detachment, like my dad said, from the human experience and like a sort of otherness that, I don't know. Um, but it's really interesting to think about and to see how communications, how humans will evolve when all of those conflicts sort of like cease and
Mhm.
things may be peaceful. But I don't know. I don't know if that's how the humans are supposed to learn. I mean, you think even like back to biblical times, like Cain and Abel, like what's that about? Like violence and like um, lying and all these things that are against like the commandments and there were lessons to be learned in that and things that we take from it. So it's hard to fathom. I'll be honest, it is hard to fathom, but it's exciting to think about.
yes, and to wait for and to actually bring it,
Right.
because
Yeah,
that's
we're
what we're
bringing
doing.
it.
We're all bringing it together.
Mhm. So let's end with this little idea. Um, we're in what's called the precession of the equinoxes. So that's 26,000 years, three times. And we're at the end of that. So we're going into the age of Aquarius. And the age of Aquarius is all about truth. And we're in this really intense time where we're not going back into polarity. Because not only are we sick of it, God is sick of it. So think about God as a body. So let's say this is the body of God. Okay. So we all have a body. We have cells, we have organs, we have all of this stuff going on in our body. The body of God is made of plasma. We change plasma into physical looking things. So our body is 99% empty space, but to us, we think it's solid, right? So we've been fighting with each other inside of God's body for a very long time. And that's how we were learning, and that's how God was learning, right? Learning about all the conflicts, learning about all the things. God is sick of that. Okay. So the universe is tired of it. Source, because we're all part of this body. So each one of us could be a cell. If you were super, super old, maybe you'd be like an organ, right? And if we're fighting with each other, what is that? What does that look like on a human level? Looks like an autoimmune disease.
Right.
Okay. Your
Right.
body fighting with each other. We're done with the autoimmune disease. Source is done. Source is like, you know what? We figured out how to do this better in a lot of different dimensions and densities. We're done with that third and fourth density. We don't need it anymore. I'm done with that disease. And that's where we're at right now.
That was a beautiful
I love
example.
that. I love that analogy. That was
Yes.
great.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
You're done.
Thank you so much, honey. That was great.
Thank you. Yeah, this was beautiful. Okay, well, thanks everybody. We hope that that was wonderful. And I'm going to put the link below for Dotan and Tavel. And just know that we're okay. And we will get through this period of shedding the snake skin and knowing all the things. And we're going to move into action. And it's going to get more and more beautiful as we go.
Amen.
We feel that.
Yeah.
We feel that.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.